Okay, that looks like it's working. Maybe. Anyway, if anyone's there, hope you guys are doing all right so far. Hello. Good to see you. I don't know what the problem is. Okay, now it looks like it's working. Let me get into the game and see if it actually reflects. I don't know. I started it. I tried to change to the ultra low latency, which I've used before in the past on like very limited streams before, and it just wasn't working this time. So I went down to low latency. The idea being that I could have the video stream out faster, and there's less latency between me talking, you hearing it, and then commenting back. But regardless, low latency is not too bad. It's like 5-ish seconds. Oh yeah, if you bought the game, this would not be a good point to stay, because we're definitely going to be getting into some stuff that is basically the ending of the game. Like we're starting the ending of the game today. Anyway, so as a little bit of a reference point to where we're at, let me see if I can back up really quick. I'm going to show you my saves. So right now we have 4 out of our 6 saves. We have the submarine ending, the knife ending, the they call it the zero lost ending, but the original DS version called it the safe ending, and then the axe ending. There's 2 endings left, but the trick is that they're not really different endings. One of them is sort of like you don't have enough, information or whatever to get farther than this ending, and the other one is you have enough information and you keep going. So one of them is just like a stop sign almost. So really, while there are technically 2 endings left, we get both of them by getting the true ending here. And there's not really a reason to do it, as a separate endings, because then you have to replay through it again, although the flowchart definitely helps. Anyway, with that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and go to the flowchart. Now, we've actually done some of this already. So right now I'm on door 4, when you get to choose for the second class cabins. And we actually did this already, sort of by accident. So in the second class cabins, we're going towards the true ending today. We're not going to finish it. This is too long to finish it. But in the second class cabins, at one point during a little bit of downtime, Santa offers you like a 4-leaf clover bookmark or something like that. And you can choose to take it or not take it. Well, we chose to take it. That's one of the things you actually need to get this ending. So we keep going down, and we get to the kitchen. There is a scene in the freezer where they start talking about like an ice that never melts. And you can tell them, like, hey, we need to focus on getting out of here, or you could show interest in their conversation. You show interest in their conversation, and you learn more about this ice that doesn't melt. Let's see. Okay. So now, next I need to go for the operating room. And this is something that I didn't do because after I took this 4th route, we went for the number 3 door, which, as you know, leads all the way down to the submarine ending. Sorry, I need to tab back into this. I mean, so this isn't... If you've watched the streams up until now, it's not going to be a spoiler, this video, but if you're wanting to play through it yourself, then you could potentially consider it a spoiler. I don't know. Anyway, so we went through the 3 door, and we never actually went through the operating room and got this optional thing. So in the operating room, we need to talk to 7 in the closet with the chemicals. Now, I think we had like a very brief conversation, but we never actually got to go through his conversation. I don't know if I need to necessarily select this or not, but I'm going to do it just to be safe. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm still locked on this key for the operating room. So I need to go through here. It looks like there's 2 keys, actually. One's operating room. Oh, and one's later in the operating room. So they're both in the operating room. So I need to play through most of the operating room in order to get this one. So, chemical closet before the door. So once again, using the controller again, still having that weird problem. No idea what it is. I guess it's a benefit of the game being, relatively speaking, short compared to the rest of the series, because this would be annoying in a 50-ish hour game. Or at least a 50-hour game of recording it. Alright, oh, also I've been adjusting audio settings a little bit again, so hopefully both the game and my voice are not too loud or too quiet. This should be good. I've been making small little changes over the past few recordings. Okay. So, and I don't have Free here. Free was very helpful with last time with getting me the right choices I needed to get to the ending. I do know the choices I need to make, I just don't know the quickest way of doing this. So forgive me if I stumble around a little bit while I attempt to grab all of the items and stuff we need. Yeah, I'm trying to grab the scalpel, believe it or not. No, don't read it again. He looks more like a scalper. Oh, 7. The butt of the joke all the time. Okay. We're supposed to cut this out, right? Or no, we needed like the weird forceps thing, I think. Yeah, these things. Actually, just realized you can use the bumper buttons on the control to move left and right. That's pretty convenient. But yeah, so forgive me if you would. This is going to be a lot of the same stuff. And some of it we just have to do. I don't think there is a shortcut to get through any of this any faster. So, trying to find if there's a way to skip this. Not really. Okay. And I can't press B to, like, you know, forward through text quickly while still, you know, I have to jam A, but not jam A too quickly, you know? I don't think there was anything in the chemicals. So we do have the key that we can use to get into this room. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. This one had that chart I needed, so hopefully they don't talk to me too much. The problem is, as I said, is that the important part of this room is near the end of the room. We have to go into the chemical room and talk in there. I need the chemicals to solve this puzzle, so I don't actually think I can do much in here. This is the exit door. Oh wait, wasn't it the same key, I think? For both of these doors? Yeah, it was. Okay, that was convenient. Alright, so we got our chemicals that we need to make the colors. No, again. Okay. Yep. I don't remember what the number for this is, so I'll probably end up looking it up because I don't feel like wasting any time on that. This is more of like a speed run than anything, and like I said last time, this is why this game works a little bit better as a traditional, like, recorded and edited Let's Play rather than a stream. Does give me a chance to talk a little bit, though, which is kind of cool. Alright. know if I can't remember. I think you could unlock all these without necessarily having to open the doors one at a time, but whatever. Alright, so that's all the body parts. So I believe this section of the room is done. Only thing left in here for us to do is to get the key and leave. Now, do we have enough? No, I don't think we have the body parts to do the table thing yet. I think we might need to do this part of the puzzle now. Let me look this up really quick. And I hate that it stops the music. I guess I could look it up on my phone, to be honest. Yeah, I'll look it up on my phone to avoid having to cut the sound off. It at least gives you something to listen to while I fumble around and do this. I saw it just for a second there. 349. Okay. Nope, I don't want to look at the arm and the heart. Alright, so now that I try to leave here. Yep. Now that I try to leave here, this is where it's important. I have to talk to Seven in the closet where you find the chemicals. Ask him. Okay, yeah. So we'll talk about this.
Yeah, I think that's probably best.
Clover nodded and left. Junpei was about to follow her when he realized that Seven wasn't following suit.
Hey, Seven, what's up?
Now, we probably didn't get this option earlier because we never did the first part of the route this particular way.
Oh!
He looked at Junpei and back down at the brown bottle. He held cup in his hands.
Bottle?
I got curious about it. Here.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did tell us a little bit about, what was it? Something to do with some chemical that crystallized? Seven tossed the bottle gently to Junpei. He caught it.
Ethylene diamine tartrate?
Yeah, that's right. CDT.
What kind of medicine is that?
It's not medicine. I think it's an industrial strength detergent.
Why would they have something like that here?
Well, probably to clean stuff up.
Clean what up?
Fuck if I know. Still,
Probably the dead bodies.
looks like it's cleaned my brain up.
I don't... I thought we had this conversation, but maybe he goes further into it. So we're gonna not skip through this, just in case.
You remember something?
Yeah.
Seven nodded slowly and spoke.
Well, I remember a story about EDT. Happened about 50 years ago. There was this factory somewhere in America making big old EDT crystals.
Okay, I think I get it. He's going to tell us this story, which is then, because of an earlier conversation, going to lead us into asking him about something else.
They were making it to
So
sell
we can
us,
skip
but
through this.
you're something watermelon once the crisp factory had, but after that, they didn't make it. But now, in fact, even in EDT after that, it was like, man, how do you
So the
say?
important thing about this conversation is that for some reason they couldn't make EDT anywhere without it crystallizing anymore.
Like the molecules were communicating with one another,
That's the important thing from this conversation.
transmitting information in a way humans couldn't perceive. This phenomena spread throughout the world, right?
Junpei looked up at Seven with half a smirk. Seven stared at him, dumbfounded.
Yeah, that's it exactly. But how did you know?
Might have had a conversation about this earlier.
I heard another story, kind of like that one.
When?
In the freezer?
What? The freezer?
Yeah, June told me.
Junpei told Seven the story he'd heard from June in the freezer in the kitchen. How one day glycerin began to crystallize. in the story of the ice that wouldn't melt at room temperature. That was the thing we talked about in the freezer, just as a reference point. When Junpei was done, Seven looked thoughtful and absent-mindedly rubbed the scar on his chin.
Ice that doesn't melt at room temperature, huh?
That sounds familiar?
Yeah, hold on. I feel like I can remember something. It's right there.
Seven squinted. His eyes stared off into space, as if he were trying desperately to focus on something far away.
Do you?
So, the know something about it would be that we're not going to get the information. We need to ask him if he knows something about Ice 9.
Do you know about Ice 9?
Ice 9? Ice 9. Ice 9. Ice.
Suddenly, Seven's eyes shot open.
That's it. I remember now. That woman, she's on this boat.
That woman?
Alice!
Who's Alice?
Alice.
Come on. The woman who won't melt at room temperature.
The what?
Huh?
It became clear to Seven that Junpei had no idea what he was talking about. He ran his hand across his face and took a deep breath.
You know how the Titanic sank on April 15th, 1912, right?
Yeah, more than 1,500 people died. Worst maritime accident in history. What about it?
Did you hear about the boat that was sent to collect the dead bodies?
I think that was the RMS Carpathia, right? It was a cruise liner, just like the Titanic.
No, that was the ship that picked up the survivors. The ship that collected the dead bodies was the CS McKay Bennett. The McKay Bennett showed up on April 17th, 2 days after the accident. It set out from Halifax, a port in Canada, and recovered 306 bodies. The Atlantic that far north was really cold. It would have to be for there to be icebergs and stuff. Anyway, the bodies they pulled out of the water were frozen solid.
This isn't a very nice story.
Yeah, I was gonna
So,
say.
what happened next?
This sounds awful.
Well, they say the McKay Bennett recovered something more than just dead bodies. There were various bits of stuff floating around in the water. Things the drowned had carried with them, or stuff that dislodged as the ship sank. One of the things they found was a coffin.
A coffin?
Yeah, a wooden one.
Huh.
The craftsman who made it must have been pretty skilled. It wasn't just a wooden coffin. It was all wood, no nails, no reinforcements, no gaps in the wood anywhere. The thing was airtight. The crew got pretty curious about what might be inside it and opened it up. They had to get a wedge and hammer it open. It was so well made. Inside,
Oh, surprise, a dead body in a coffin.
they found a woman. Or, I guess you should say, they found the dead body of a woman. Her hair was thick and black, and her skin rich brown with no blemishes or signs of decomposition. They say that she looked gorgeous, like a goddess. She was obviously dead, but everyone who looked at her said she just looked like she was sleeping. Her skin was so lifelike, she looked like she might wake up any minute. And she didn't. Like the rest of the bodies they found, she was frozen solid. Eventually, the McKay Bennett finished searching and returned to Halifax. The 306 bodies were unloaded and taken ashore. However, it was warm enough that they began to thaw. They say that the stink was horrible. But there was one body that didn't thaw. And that was...
The girl in the coffin!
That's right. Everybody thought for sure that she'd melt and start to rot like the rest of them eventually. But weeks passed and nothing happened. And a month passed, and another. It was summer, and she was still frozen solid. After a while, people started to say she was some sort of miracle. Rumors about her started to spread. People came to visit Halifax from all over. After a while, people started to call her All Ice.
That sounds a little familiar.
Alice. Of course, those rumors didn't last long.
Why?
Well, she up and disappeared. One day Alice was there, the next day she wasn't. They say someone snuck into where they were keeping her and stole the body. With the body gone, the rumors followed pretty quickly. And after a while, no one remembered her. You might be able to find something about her if you could find a newspaper from back then, but that's about it.
Wait, you just said that she was on this boat.
Yeah, I did. Alice has got to be somewhere on this ship.
Now why the hell would you say something like that?
Because I know.
And just what is it you know?
what happened to Alice after she was stolen.
Junpei gulped.
All right. Tell me, what happened to Alice?
Seven nodded slowly and took on the look of a man recalling something long buried.
Well, around that time, the word was that there was a special black market in New York. All millionaires from all over the world. I've heard that Alice went up for auction there. The person who won the auction was Lord Dashiell Gordain. You've heard that name before, right?
Lord Gordain. Oh, isn't he the guy who bought the Gigantic? The Titanic's sister ship?
Yeah, that's him. Although I guess he hadn't done that yet.
What do you mean?
Gordain bought Alice in 1912. 4 years later, in 1916, he bought the Gigantic. And he hid Alice somewhere on the Gigantic. But nobody knows where. He died in 1931. And apparently he died without ever telling anyone where Alice was hidden. However,
what?
Well, he did have one close friend who asked him, "Where is Alice?" And he said, "Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the Forest of Knowledge beneath the navel of the Gigantic."
What the hell is that? Is it some kind of riddle?
Kind of sounds like
Your
one.
guess is as good as mine.
Seven threw his hands up in defeat.
So that's it. Whatever you think, I believe it. She's hidden somewhere on the Gigantic. In other words, she's hidden somewhere on this ship.
Before Junpei could dispute Seven's rather bizarre claim, as Junpei was trying to figure out what on earth he was going to say next, Clover's shrill voice pierced the room.
Hey, what are you two doing over there? Stop wasting time and get over here.
Okay, we're coming.
Jeez.
Seven looked at Junpei.
Yeah, so anyway, that's the story. It might be useful someday. Don't forget it.
With that cryptic remark, he turned and left the room.
Alice. Huh.
Junpei was left behind to ponder what he just heard. He tried to remember what June had told him earlier.
That mummy wasn't just a normal mummy. They say that she was frozen. The story says that from the time of its discovery all the way through to when it got put on the Titanic, even though it was carried through the desert, her body never melted.
Then was that Egyptian priestess Alice? Did the water in her body become Ice 9? No, that's nuts. There's no way somebody like that could exist.
No. Junpei shook his head, trying desperately to clear it, and followed Seven to the operating room where Clover was waiting. Okay. So now we've gotten that key out of the way. Yep, you can see the first one's unlocked there. Now we need to actually solve this puzzle. I think. Combine. I don't actually remember what the solution to this puzzle is, so I'm gonna pull it up really quick. Like I could, obviously, but you know, why bother? Solve it, tap each body part on one body except for the heart. Okay. Oh, that's a lot easier than the alternative. Alright, got the key. I think we're just about out of here.
Hey, hold on.
Junpei stopped, about to put the key into the doorknob.
Oh, what's up?
Where's Clover?
Huh?
Uh-oh. Bad things happen when Clover goes missing. Well, it's not that I need to redo the puzzle, per se. I just have to get these dialogues. And the only way to get the dialogues is to go through the puzzle, which basically requires me to get to the end of the puzzle to do this. Unless I guess, did it perfectly right the first time. You can stumble upon these side conversations like I did with the first two. But you have to, you kind of have to know what you're doing to get all of them. Junpei turned around. Clover was nowhere to be seen.
Oh, God damn it. Where the hell did she go? Okay, just hold on a minute. I'll go get her.
Sure thing.
Junpei left Seven at the door and headed back to the operating room. He found her standing next to the operating table. She was staring at the mannequin.
Hey, Clover, what's wrong? Come on, let's get out of here.
So this conversation also happened, but there's probably a divergent point at some point soon. She didn't respond. If she hadn't been standing up and breathing, Junpei might have thought she was dead.
What are you doing? Did you want to come back here and say goodbye to John?
It wasn't the best joke, but it was something. An attempt to lighten the mood. Clover didn't laugh. Clover doesn't have a sense of humor. She stood stock still and said nothing.
Hey, Clover, can you hear me?
Perhaps it was something he'd said, or perhaps it was something else. Suddenly her mouth opened and she whispered in a dry, dead voice.
My brother might be dead.
Oh, you got that one right.
Huh?
That's why we couldn't find him. If he's dead, I'm going to be next.
Suddenly, the operating room felt very, very cold.
What are you talking about? What's wrong with you?
That's a lot. He gave her a small shake, but she still didn't respond. Yeah, and honestly, on the idea that I didn't remember the first game being where you needed to redo the puzzles. The original DS version, you had to replay the entire game in order to get through, to get to the different endings, because there wasn't a flowchart. So this is vastly better. The silence grew heavier. Junpei, what do you want to do? So I think you normally just tell Clover that you need to leave. However, let me double check. You're given the chance to offer her a bookmark. And this should be our last thing we have to do.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't know why, but suddenly Junpei remembered something he'd been given earlier. Now, of course, when we went through this route earlier, we didn't take the 4-door, so we didn't have this bookmark.
It's in my pocket somewhere. Here it is.
He reached into his pocket and dug it out.
A 4-leaf clover.
Santa had given it to him in the second-class room. He held it out to Clover.
Hey, did you know? Each leaf means something. Hope, faith, love, and luck. That's what a 4-leaf clover stands for.
And Santa hates all of them.
Take it. Use it as a good luck charm.
He pressed the 4-leaf clover into her hand.
Listen to me, Clover. No matter what happens, you can never lose hope. You have to remember what's most important, and that's to have faith and to have love.
And luck.
If you can remember all of those, that'll bring you good luck.
Sure. Man, this worked out really well for us.
Snake, I mean, your brother, he's not dead. He's alive, somewhere. I'm sure of it. You've just gotta believe in that.
Clover stared at the 4-leaf clover in her hand. He could see tears start to form at the corners of her eyes.
Thank you.
Her voice was tiny and broken, and as she spoke, she started to cry. She tried to hide her tears by looking at the floor, but it did little good. She wiped away tears with the baggy arms of her jacket, but more quickly took their place. No matter how she tried, she couldn't stop crying. Her tears made small wet circles on the floor.
Thank you.
She said it again. Then she looked up at Junpei and seemed to choke down the last of her grief. She did her best to smile. Junpei wiped an errant tear from her cheek with his thumb and gave her the best smile he could manage.
Oh, come on. Seven's waiting for us at the exit.
But still, she didn't move.
Wait, before we go, there's one thing I want to ask you.
What's that?
What do you think when you hear the word experiment?
That's an odd question. For a moment, his mind froze. Then he came back to his senses and realized the word meant nothing to him, aside from the dictionary definition.
What?
Oh. I guess it was just a coincidence then. I mean, that you knew about the four-leaf clover.
Look, I'm sorry. I don't want to be a jerk, but you are making less than no sense right now.
Oh, no. It's nothing. Just forget about it.
Oh, don't give me that. You really think I could just drop this? What is this experiment you were talking about?
Clover looked away. The four-leaf clover was still in her hand. She stared at it for a long moment and then finally spoke.
You promise you won't tell anyone?
Cross my heart.
Really?
Really?
I can trust you, right?
I hope so.
Of course you can.
No backstabs. Clover slipped the four-leaf clover into her pocket. Her eyes still red from crying, she looked up at Junpei.
Okay then, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what happened on this ship 9 years ago.
Wait. On this ship?
Yeah, this ship.
He was entirely lost. He had 1,000 questions, but it was probably best, he thought, to save them until Clover had finished.
It was an experiment to test some sort of psychic thing. Communicating through these fields that you can't see.
Fields that you can't see?
He'd heard something like this before. Clover nodded.
Like, think about this.
She pointed at the operating table. On top of it was a somewhat mismatched medical mannequin, whose parts had been swapped with another mannequin.
This is John, right? But is he really John?
Huh?
All Junpei could think was, she's finally completely lost it.
Isn't this like Locke's socks? Or the ship of Theseus?
Junpei grew even more confused. He'd never heard of either of those things, although they sounded smart.
You don't know? You haven't heard of those paradoxes?
No?
Junpei shook his head.
Really?
Clover laughed.
Okay, well pay attention then. This is how Locke's socks works. Let's say I've got a pair of socks. They're my favorite socks. One of them gets a hole in it. What would you do if that was your sock, Junpei?
So this doesn't matter. But I'm gonna be honest. I've thrown away quite a few socks because they've had very large holes in them.
Well, I'd pitch it, I guess.
But it's your favorite pair of socks.
Come on, who loves their socks that much?
The problem is I have favorite pairs of socks, but by the time they get the holes in them, they stop becoming the favorite socks. They start getting really thin at that point, you know?
It doesn't matter. Just suppose you do love them that much.
Well, I guess then I'd patch it.
But what if another hole opens?
I'd add another patch, I suppose.
What if another hole opened after that?
Okay, Clover, calm down.
Another patch, I guess?
Well, let's say you just keep adding new patches. Until eventually, the original cloth of the sock is totally gone. Once you get to that point, can you really say they're the same socks you started with?
Well, that's tough.
It's like Frankenstein's monster's sock. Junpei crossed his arms.
So, that's the lock socks thing?
Yeah, the ship of Theseus is a lot like it. The ship of Theseus. If you keep fixing the damaged parts of a ship, eventually it ends up with none of the parts it started with. Can you really say that ship is the same one you started with? And what if you took all the old parts from the first ship and built another one somewhere else? Then which ship is the real ship of Theseus? The one you repaired, or the one you built with all the original parts?
It was an interesting question. Clover could see Junpei was intrigued.
Hey, do you think it's the same?
What's the same?
These guys. Is this John, or is it Lucy now?
Yeah, because the only thing that's the same is the arm, the head, and the heart. I believe. Junpei looked at the operating table again. A mannequin full of body parts from a different body. Clover had been right. It was just like Locke's socks and the ship of Theseus. The part of the body that holds a person's identity is the head. Of course, for many hundreds of years, conventional wisdom had held that a man's identity resided in his heart, or any number of internal organs. And here they had both.
John's head and heart are both his. But apart from those, and a single arm, the rest of his body was once Lucy's.
Was that mannequin really John?
We're just like these mannequins.
She looked at Junpei again.
Think about it. The cells in our body change every day. Old ones die and new ones are born. Maybe part of my arm is made of stuff from a fish I ate once. Or maybe part of your right side is made from a cow you ate. If you take it a little further, those cows and fishes are made from something else too, right? That's how we're all connected. Through fields that can't be seen with the naked eye.
The silence was broken by Seven.
Hey, what the hell is taking you two so long?
Seven's head appeared in the doorway. He was not happy.
How long are you gonna make me wait? We don't have time to screw around.
Junpei and Clover looked at each other. Clover looked at Junpei as if to say there was more she wanted to tell him. She shook her head. Whatever she had to tell him, she didn't want to tell him in front of Seven. Seven seemed to catch on.
Oh? What were you two doing? Was this some sort of secret meeting?
No, it wasn't. We were just
Just...
playing with the mannequins.
Huh?
Let's go, Junpei.
Moving a little bit too fast to be entirely innocent, Clover headed towards the exit. Seven stared after her, then turned to Junpei with an amused expression.
Playing with mannequins, huh? Didn't know you were into that kind of thing, Junpei.
You're a dick.
Junpei dashed past him and traced Clover's path out of the door. With a short laugh, Seven followed. They stood in front of the door. Junpei took out the Jupiter key.
All right, I'm gonna open it now. Is that cool?
You don't need to keep asking, just do it, all right?
Oh,
Fine,
no. Slid the key into the keyhole, and this is going to be the same. The door opened. White hallway.
All right.
Hey, man, what's up with you? You're so serious, you know? Can't you sound more happy, you know, get a little excited?
Not really.
My brother might be dead. I'm going to be next.
Clover had told him only a few minutes before that her brother was probably dead and that she was likely to follow him.
Like hell I can. Not after hearing something like that.
So yeah, that did, I would say 2 important things. One was obviously we got Clover on her side, which after seeing how she's kind of taken stuff into her own hands is probably a good thing to get her on our side. And then the second thing is, of course, that we learned about fields that can't be seen with the naked eye. I don't know if we've actually been given a name to that yet, I can't remember. But fields that can't be seen with the naked eye. Pretty interesting. Okay, so let me go back to this wiki really quick. So I think I can look back at the flow chart and see where we need to go next. If I can click back into the game. Okay. As you can see, we have both keys here. And would that be the engine room? Hold on. No, that would be this left route, I believe. Yeah. So let me click this one, and then we can go back to the flow chart. Oh, we don't have these ones yet. Interesting. That's not what... Dang it, that's not what the guide said. Sorry. Let me pull up a different guide. Maybe I can find this out. This is where, you know, my friend was helpful last time, and then, I thought the guide was going to tell me exactly how to do it, so maybe I just need a different one. Okay. So we've done the door 4, the kitchen, door 7. Afterwards, go through door 1. And then that's in the operating room. Wait, hold on. Oh, okay, door 1, okay. So we are in door 1 now. It doesn't tell me where to go after this. Unless, of course, these locks are for a different thing here? I'd hate to get started with this and realize I missed something. Chart room and captain's quarters. Do we need to go through this section? I would assume from the locks we would, because we're locked out of this route at this point, so I would assume I have to go through here, but I want to know exactly what the triggers I need to hit are so I can know when I can skip forward. And this second strategy guide didn't mention anything. Proceed through door 1 and finish the game. Well, I'm doing that. This guide doesn't show me anything either. The problem is, I think there are slight variations in the different versions of the game. There's actually an extra ending, a 7th ending, in the iOS version, which I played through some time ago on this channel. Hey, Free, good timing. I have a question for you. I am trying to get the true ending here, and I have gone through what all these guides are telling me to do. So I went through the 4th door, got the 4-leaf clover, went through the kitchen, talked about Ice 9, went through the 7th door into the operating room, talked more about Ice 9, talked more about Ice 9, then gave Clover the 4-leaf clover. All the guides tell me to go to door 1 and then play through it. But, as you can see, I have locked keys and a lock there. Do I have to do anything specific on this route, or can I just skip forward to outside the room? None of the guides are telling, all the guides are saying, go through door 1 and then just play through it. I don't want to sit here and play through 2 separate escape rooms. Okay, yes, that's one word to a lot of questions. Do I have to play through the whole thing right now? Chart room, pick up the watch in the drawer. Okay, I got you. I guess that little line of text right there tells me maybe what I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe I should be paying attention to that. So maybe Ace is going to talk about the pocket watch some more. If nothing else, Clover's going to be a little more receptive to us than, before. This is what annoyed me, is none of the guides mentioned this, I think they're all, let's skip it to the pocket watch. Okay. I think a lot of these guides going forward with the assumption that I'm playing the original DS version, because a lot of them are from like 2016. So there is no flowchart. Alright. Yeah, I think when we picked this up, we talked to Clover, and Clover wasn't talking to us before. So the difference here is probably that Clover's going to say something important. A voice he hadn't expected startled Junpei from his examination of the pocket watch.
Oh, pocket watch.
Oh, that's Ace.
Might I take a look at it?
He spun around to find Ace standing in the doorway. Junpei shrugged and handed him the pocket watch.
Hey, man. What are you doing
Hey,
over
man.
in this room?
Oh, I just thought I'd come check up on the two of you. Is there a problem?
There is a problem. Go back to your room, jerk. Well, I didn't get it last time. Does this choice matter? I'm going to assume not, but let me know otherwise. A problem?
Well, not a problem, but...
Interact with the TV screen so they say 0 and go to the room Ace is in and solve the Morse code puzzle to examine the book. Okay, so I can skip forward a little bit through some of
That's
that.
a lie. I wanted to get rid of Ace. I sent him to the wheelhouse at the beginning for a reason. I wanted to talk to Clover alone. There's something I want to ask her. And I don't want anyone to overhear us. I'm pretty sure Clover won't talk if there's anyone else around. I'm a little desperate to send him back, quick.
Okay.
He has to leave.
Oh, so yeah, so I can skip to the captain's cabin after this. Alright, fair enough. Although... This isn't the captain's cabin, right? This is the communications room? Or maybe this is the captain's cabin. No, this is the chart room. Captain's quarters the next one. Gotcha. Okay. Ace opened his mouth and took another look at Junpei and shut it again. A small smirk appeared on his face.
Oh, I see. Of course.
He looked Junpei over, then glanced at Clover.
I apologize for the intrusion. Well, best of luck.
Ace gave Junpei a knowing pat on the shoulder and left. I don't think this choice matters. My thought is that all of these guides are written for the original DS version, and so the idea is that there's no skipping forward anyway, so you might as well just play through the whole route, and I guess the choices don't matter after that point. Junpei let out a sigh and brushed a few drops of sweat from his forehead. He turned and found himself looking straight into Clover's eyes. She'd heard what Ace had said. She regarded Junpei with caution.
What was that about?
Let me see, hold on. So in this route, I believe we've seen her dead brother, or what we assume is her dead brother. Yeah, a lot of the guides do refer to the original. But we've seen her dead brother, or at least we assume it's her dead brother. So she's a little bummed out at this point, I think. Although she supposedly trusts us. She was clearly suspicious, and with good reason.
Why are you looking at me like that?
You go into door 3 between the last room and this one? Yeah, I thought so. Junpei's eyes widened, and he held up his hands in a gesture of innocence.
Oh, no, it's not like that.
What's it like then?
I just wanted to hear the rest of that story. I didn't get a chance to ask you about it until now.
What story?
About the experiment, remember? The one you started to tell me in the operating room? You said something about an experiment that happened here 9 years ago.
Clover bit her lip. She stared down at the floor for several long moments, and when she spoke, it was barely audible.
I'm sorry, but I don't want to talk about that right now. I'm just not in the mood, okay? You understand, right? I keep thinking about my brother. I can't stop. I mean, who would do something like that to my brother?
I guess if I kept playing, it would have been pretty self-explanatory here.
I can't forgive them. I'm not gonna let them get away with it. They're gonna pay for it. I promise. So...
Her shoulders were shaking. Drops of blood had sprung up on her lips where she was biting them. She wiped it off and looked up at Junpei, her eyes fierce and angry.
Junpei, who do you think did it?
Her voice was cold and scarcely above a whisper. Junpei gulped.
Well, if what Seven said was right, then there would have to be at least 2 of them. You need at least 3 people to open the numbered doors, and if you subtract Snake, that means there were at least 2 other people.
You're right. So, what does that mean?
Well, if we just look at the bracelet numbers, we should be able to figure it out. Who could have opened door 3 with Snake? Well, really, who and who, or who and who?
You mean it could have been 4 people?
Well, technically, it's possible.
I don't know. That doesn't seem very likely.
Why?
I'll tell you later. Why don't we just assume it was only 2 other people for now?
Okay, got it. Let's do that then.
Then who do you think it could be?
Junpei crossed his arms and thought. Snake's bracelet number was 2, which 2 bracelet numbers added to 2 would give a digital root of 3. Oh, that's a lot of choices. I don't want to count things. Well, we obviously know the answer, so we can cut it down to these 4 right here. Ace and Santa?
Would it be Ace and Santa? The digital root for Snake, Ace, and Santa is 6. No, they wouldn't be able to open door 3.
I'm not about to sit here and start calculating
Then
things.
maybe Ace and June. The digital root for Snake.
Nope.
Besides, there's no way in hell June is a murderer.
Of course not.
Damn, I need to think it over again. Would it be Ace and 7? The digital root for Snake, Ace,
Not
and
quite.
7 is 1.
Santa and 7?
The
Okay.
numbers aren't the right ones. They wouldn't be able to open door 3. But in that case, who was it? Would it be
Cheating
Santa
time.
and 7? The digital root for Snake, Santa, and 7 is 3. Wait, hold on. Are Santa and 7 the killers?
What's wrong?
Clover looked at Junpei, and he looked back at her. There was no point in hiding it.
Well, I thought about it, and...
He told her his conclusions.
That's what I thought.
She looked less surprised than he expected.
Santa and 7. If it was 2 people, then that's the only combination that works.
Hey, wait a minute there. Don't you think it's a little too early to be jumping to conclusions? Well, all I said is that those 2 would have been able to open door 3 with your brother. There might be other possibilities.
Well, what other possibilities?
He didn't have an answer. He was ready to admit defeat when Clover spoke.
Are you saying you think that it was 3 or 4 people? I really don't think that's likely.
Why not?
Can I borrow your pen and paper?
Clover put her hand out expectantly.
Yeah, here.
Junpei pulled out his pen and pad of paper and handed them to her. She opened the notebook and wrote down several simple addition problems. Eventually, she had 8, which provided a digital root of 3. 2 plus 1 plus 3 plus 6 equals 12. 2 plus 1 plus 4 plus 5. Okay. I'm not going to read all these out.
What's this?
These are the combinations for 3 or 4 people. These 8 combinations are the only possible ones.
Oh, I see.
Junpei,
Yeah?
I can trust you, alright?
I sure hope so. Otherwise, we're going to end up in that axe ending again.
Of course.
That's the
Why
route
would
we're
you need
taking
to
now.
ask that?
Really?
Yeah.
So then I should get rid of B, D, G, and H, right?
Of course. Just cross them out. And you should take off yours too. The ones with 4.
So, what does that leave?
A and E.
So that would be Okay, so 2 is Snake. So Ace.
Wait, it can't be A.
Why?
Because June's in that one.
Yep. Okay.
There's no way in hell she'd do something like that.
I mean, you say that. Are
Are
you sure?
you sure?
I'd bet my life on it.
Okay then. I can cross off A too, right?
Yeah,
Well, what have we got left?
E.
Do you know what this means?
I don't know why I blank on some of these people. So obviously there's 7. There's Ace. I don't know. Oh yeah, Santa. My friends would never do anything bad. And then it's 8. I'm not good with these numbers.
Everyone besides me, you, and
Lotus.
June would be working together.
Do you think that's likely?
I mean, it's possible, but probably not.
If there were 4 people working together, they wouldn't be very cautious. I don't think they'd try that hard to hide what they were doing if they outnumbered us, right?
Well, you do have a point.
And besides, if Ace and 7 are working together, they could have easily gotten rid of me when I went to the shower room with them. But they didn't. They didn't even try anything. If they were killers, why wouldn't they?
Her voice was calm, but Junpei had only to look her in the eye to know it was a forced calm. There were tears forming at the corners of her eyes, and she was blinking furiously to keep them back. Perhaps by attempting an objective analysis of who might have killed her brother, she'd been able to distance herself from the harsh reality of his death. The more she struggled to act unconcerned, the more Junpei felt his heart tighten.
Oh, I see. Anyway, I understand now. It seems pretty unlikely that it was as many as 3 or 4 people.
Yeah,
Then that means there's a good chance it was Santa and 7.
that's how it looks.
But why would they do it?
Alright, let's hold off on the axe killing. There was a moment of silence.
Their motive.
He laid his hand gently on her shoulder. He was close, so close to the answer. When Ace chose the worst possible moment to return. He raised a knowing eyebrow and then spoke.
Have I interrupted something?
What is it?
There was something I wanted to speak with you about, Junpei. Could you come with me for a moment?
He turned on his heel and walked back towards the wheelhouse.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Junpei looked over at Clover. He gave her a short nod, hoped that she would be willing to talk to him again later, and followed Ace.
What did you want to talk about?
Clover's maybe my favorite, except when she's killing everyone. Fair enough. Ace looked at Junpei and smiled, perhaps more of a smirk than a smile.
There was something I wanted to check.
Is this the paper in the pocket thing? I think so. We're not quite done with this yet.
Yeah? What's that?
If you'll excuse me.
Yep.
Hey, what the hell are you...
I'm just checking.
No.
No.
Just as I thought. What exactly are they? I meant...
Then...
Oh...
Of course, Ace doesn't really care. Alright, cool. Now we're good. So we'll move forward to the captain's quarters. Red file and monitor. Yeah, so this was actually a pretty quick puzzle if you didn't, just click on everything. And there wasn't a lot to click on here if I remember right. Okay, so let's interact with this. Okay. Okay. I don't think I can select the, anything from the flowchart menu. No, you can't. It's quick enough. It's not really a big deal.
Huh.
Junpei snorted with a grim humor. Is this going to be important?
Zero, huh? It's like he's making fun of us. What do you think?
He turned to Clover, who was standing next to him. Clover nodded,
Nothing.
seeing that she cared about little. Of course, Junpei could hardly blame her. Given the strain she was surely under, Junpei was somewhat surprised she had responded at all. Still, he had to ask. He gestured towards the corpse.
What
New
about
scene.
him?
Okay.
Do you think that's really Zero?
Clover shook her head weakly.
There's no way that's him. Didn't I tell you already? Zero is one of us.
Yeah, right. Well, even if he wasn't one of us, there's no way that man could be Zero.
Huh?
Don't you get it? The letters that spell Zero on the TV screen, the captain's clothes he's got on, and of course, the bracelet with a zero on it. It's too obvious. Look, this is Zero right here. This dead body is Zero. Isn't that kind of fishy?
You're right. Only an idiot wouldn't see through something like that.
No, that's not the point. So I'm not trying to make fun of them for thinking a trick like this would work. I'm sure they didn't think it would work, which makes me wonder.
Why did they do it?
I think this is a challenge. A challenge from the person who's really behind all of this. He's making fun of us. Don't you get it? If whoever killed this guy really wanted us to think this corpse was Zero, they'd never have put a bracelet on him. Walking around with a Zero bracelet would be like hanging a sign around your neck that said, "I did it!" Anyone with a brain would be able to see that this guy is supposed to look like everything Zero is supposed to be. Just like we did. The killer must have known we wouldn't think he was Zero and put the bracelet on him anyway. Do you know why?
Why?
Like I said, he's mocking us. Too bad, suckers, this isn't Zero. Where's the real me then? See if you can catch me. It's the same bad joke a lot of criminals like to play. They'll just sit back and watch people run in circles.
That's really twisted. But it almost seems kind of childish.
Yeah, you're right. It's really childish. It's like it's just a game to whoever this person is. That's what seems funny to me.
Junpei bent down next to the corpse.
Alright, let's get back to the point. Who killed this man?
I don't know.
And what's this guy's deal? Who is he?
How would I know that? If I knew anything, I would have told you.
You have no idea who he is.
Why would I?
Junpei sat back in his haunches and thought.
We should check and see if he's got anything on him that might tell us who he is. Give me a hand here, Clover.
Huh?
We gotta flip him over. How else are we gonna search his pockets?
Clover didn't move.
Okay, fine. Guess I'll do it.
Junpei had no choice but to move the body on his own.
Here we go.
He grabbed hold of an area not completely covered in blood and shoved. It took a moment, but eventually Junpei felt the man's bulk begin to shift. But just as it did,
Huh?
something fell from the man's left wrist.
Hey, it's the
bracelet with Zero on the face.
Lastly, let's discuss how to remove the bracelets. There are only two ways to do so. One, you escape from this ship. Two, Lord Hartley, which is Zero. In other words, once the bracelet is taken outside the confines of the ship, or the outside of the mirror's heartbeat has fallen to zero, it will shut down automatically.
Oh god.
Junpei stared at the bracelet.
This man. He's dead, isn't he?
Well, yeah, obviously.
No, it's just I guess I didn't really think about it until right now. If his bracelet's off, that means he's dead.
Well, it's pretty obvious that he's dead. You don't really need to look at his bracelet to figure out that he's dead.
Yeah. I guess you're right. It is pretty obvious. He looks a lot better than the other bodies we've seen, though. You know?
Man, Junpei, you're really hitting it out of the park here.
I mean, if there wasn't all this blood, he'd almost look like he was still alive. I mean, I know it's kind of a messed up thing to say, but he kinda has it better, you know? Dying from a bomb going off inside of you, I mean, that's just... Some of Snake's bones went right through his
Okay,
skin.
Junpei, you need to stop.
I think the explosion must have thrown him against a wall or something. There was a broken bone just sticking out of his left arm.
Oh, okay. I see. This is supposed to make Clover feel better.
And,
Suddenly, Junpei realized what he was saying. How could he have been so cruel? He clapped his hands over his mouth. But it was already too late. He turned to look at Clover. She was glaring at him furiously.
What did you just say?
Her words sounded cold. He knew an apology could hardly atone for what he'd done, but he tried anyway.
oh man, I am so sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I really don't know what I was thinking. I mean,
that's awful, isn't it? Just like your brother with his bones just sticking straight out of his arm.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. What did you say about his arm?
I think he had a bone sticking out of his right arm.
arm?
Yes,
Arm?
his left arm. You said it, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I did, but I mean, didn't you see it too?
Of course not. I could barely look at him. There's no way I was gonna see the details.
Clover took a quick, deep breath.
Are you sure it was his left arm?
Junpei thought back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
And he had a broken bone, right?
What the hell are you getting at here?
Just shut up and answer me!
She shoved her face closer to his. He could see the fire in her eyes. Junpei winced and swallowed.
Yeah, he did. It was pretty bad, too. The bone was sticking out of the arm.
No sooner were the words out of his mouth than Clover's expression changed.
Clover? What's wrong? Look, I'm sorry if I said anything.
You said a lot of things. Suddenly she was crying. Junpei wasn't sure what to do.
Thank you.
It was close to the last thing he'd expected to hear.
Huh? What are you...
Junpei had no idea what had just happened. He didn't think he'd done anything worthy of thanks, and he couldn't understand why she would have chosen that moment to begin crying. So he simply stood there, confused.
Thank you so much, Junpei.
She thanked him again, and then something even stranger happened. Oh. And then presumably, she stabs you in the back when she gets you in a hug. Clover threw herself into Junpei's surprised arms.
Hey, what's going on with you?
I'm sorry, it's just... I'm so happy!
Why?
The body in the shower room, it isn't his! It isn't my brother!
Huh?
It's not Snake!
Why on earth would you think that?
Because his left arm is...
She stopped herself.
I'm sorry. I really shouldn't be talking about this.
Junpei decided it would be prudent not to press her for any more information. If she did not wish to tell him, she certainly had a reason for doing so. Perhaps more importantly, however, if Clover was so certain, then she was likely right. That meant that the body in the shower room wasn't Snake. It wasn't much, but that knowledge lifted some of the weight from Junpei's heart.
But he's still alive. I'm so happy.
Tears shone in her eyes. Those tears melted Junpei's heart. As she cried, she'd pushed herself up against his chest, like a child. Junpei put his arms around her and held her tight.
I'm so glad. Junpei, you were right.
Huh?
No matter what happens, you can never lose hope. You have to remember what's most important, and that's to have faith and to have love.
Man, it's a good thing we remembered that.
If you can remember all of those, that'll bring you good luck.
Clover reached into her pocket and pulled something out. It was a knife. It was a laminated bookmark with a 4-leaf clover.
I only made it here because you gave me this. I was suspicious of everybody. I was angry and miserable. But because I had this 4-leaf clover, because of what you said to me,
Yeah.
Junpei hadn't thought his words would have had such an effect on her. Run. Her words were making him feel a little awkward.
Thank you so much, Junpei.
She looked up at him. He scratched his nose and pretended to notice something interesting somewhere else in the room.
Oh, if you really want to thank somebody, you should be thanking Santa.
Santa? Why?
Well, he was the one who gave me that thing. And the words for each leaf, I got that from him too.
Yeah, it was all a bunch of lies. I don't know what it means.
Oh.
Then suddenly, Clover broke away from Junpei.
Huh?
He looked confused. He hadn't thought she'd react that poorly. Clover began to pace around the room. A 3D audio right there. 6 steps to the left, 6 steps to the right. Another 6 to the left. And then she stopped.
Did Santa really tell you those things?
Her eyes were serious, but not angry.
Yeah, he did. Did I say something wrong?
Oh no, not at all. In fact, this could be really good news, I think.
You think?
Santa knew about the words and the clover. The only people who should know about that are the other subjects.
Subjects?
The other people who were in the experiment 9 years ago, with my brother and me. But he's blind, and I was part of the Nevada test group. So neither of us would be able to recognize the faces of the people who were on this boat.
Whoa. Okay, time out.
Junpei held up his hands. He took a deep breath and let it out.
Let's just calm down for a second, okay? Start from the top. Don't start with the end and then jump to the middle. You gotta start with 1 and then move to 2 and 3 and 4 and so on. If you don't tell me stuff in the right order, I'm never gonna be able to figure it out.
Okay.
Clover nodded.
All right, let's start with this experiment. What happened on this boat 9 years ago?
Do you know about morphogenetic fields?
Morphogenetic fields?
He did. And the realization sent chills down Junpei's spine.
All right, how about this? Theory of the telepathic mechanism.
I think Lotus mentioned something like that.
Okay, I wasn't sure if they dropped the name, the morphogenic field name yet. Junpei recounted what Lotus had told him earlier. Clover nodded.
Telepathy, huh? Well, that's not really it, but I suppose it's similar.
So they were testing telepathy on this ship?
Yeah, I guess so.
So, what exactly did they have you guys do?
The same thing that we're doing now. Exactly the same thing.
What?
The nonary game. 9 people were put on this boat, and 9 others were put in the building in Nevada, and the game started.
Junpei grabbed the sides of his head.
Look, I'm sorry, but I don't get it. What do the nonary game and some telepathy experiment have to do with each other? Am I missing something here?
Clover bit her lip. She blinked back sudden tears. What had happened to her in Nevada?
The ability to access a morphogenetic field is affected by a couple of things. The first is epiphany, and the other is danger. You know how sometimes when you're up against a really tough problem, and then the answer just kind of pops in your head? That's an epiphany. And what you learn from the epiphany can be transmitted with telepathy. When you add danger to that equation, then it gets easier to transmit that information over telepathy.
So you're saying the nonary game was supposed to introduce that element of danger?
Yeah, but it couldn't be just any old danger. It had to be life and death. And someone did actually die. A girl.
Huh.
Junpei felt the sudden grip of despair in his heart. Something deep and distant and powerful squeezed, and for a moment he felt very, very empty and alone.
She was on the boat with my brother. I was in Nevada. I never met her, but I did hear her name. Her name was...
Oh no, don't do that to us. The sound of the door opening was like a gunshot. Junpei spun around.
Oh, my apologies. I seem to
hello.
have disturbed you.
Ace.
You two must have strong stomachs. I can't imagine how you could stay in this room for so long.
Ace glanced down at the floor. At the corpse, covered in blood.
At any rate, Junpei, would you be so kind as to come and help me with something?
Why do you always want us to come help
I'm having
you
a
with
little
something?
trouble, and I could really use your assistance.
Uh,
Come on, it'll only take a moment.
With that, he turned and walked back towards the communications office. Clover waited until he was out of sight, then spoke in a small, quiet voice.
I don't want Ace to hear us. We can talk about this later.
Sure,
huh?
if
Hey,
we have
wait.
a later. Clover ignored him. From outside, Junpei could hear Ace calling.
Junpei, what are you doing in
What
there?
are you
Hurry
doing,
up.
Junpei? Grumbling to himself, Junpei stomped off towards the communications office. Alright. Wait. We got one of these and not the other? Or is it that I have to get the, Is it that I have to keep going here? Maybe I have to solve this puzzle still. Have to do the Morse code puzzle. Okay. Can I not click on things? Ah, paper. Right. Okay, and to do the Morse code puzzle, I'm assuming it won't let me just solve it. I'm assuming I have to get the musical box, yeah, and the ink and stuff. Okay, fair enough. Screwdrivers. Ink. Okay. And the music box. This is such like a weird combo. It's like, yes. Worked perfectly. Okay. So then I have to click... Oh, I have to click on the wall. Yeah, I don't... That's annoying. Alright. Whoops. Reset. Not much of a puzzle, is it? And we unlock the drawer. Which we might actually be able to... I think this is where we'll get more information from. Junpei reached down and picked it up.
Looks
Because
like
when we
there's
first
something
got
on
it...
the cover.
When we first got it, we had no idea what to do with it. You know, it's got hieroglyphics in it, and we were like, yeah, they spelled Alice wrong, or something like that.
A-L... All I... Alice. Does this mean...
Junpei couldn't hold back. He had to know what was in the file. Each page was covered in strange characters. Yeah.
What the hell is this?
They are hieroglyphs, a form of writing used in ancient Egypt.
Ancient Egypt?
That's right.
Can you read them?
Of course. I can't.
What the hell? Whoa,
Something fell out. Oh yeah, this is the key card.
Oh, Uranus.
Something's written on the bottom deck library. This must be the key to the library, then.
So it would seem.
Bottom deck library. Oh.
Junpei remembered something he'd heard from Seven when they'd been in the chemical closet.
Seven said something like...
Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the forest of knowledge beneath the navel of the gigantic.
Could beneath the navel mean the bottom deck? And the forest of knowledge is the library?
Bingo.
Then
there we
could
go.
Alice be in a room somewhere beyond the library?
What's wrong? Something on your mind?
And of course, the benefit to all this is that we're not going to get murdered by an axe, so maybe we can actually figure out what's going on after this. Junpei blinked. Only then did he notice Ace looking at him, curiosity and concern written across his face in equal parts.
Yeah. I just remembered something.
Is that so? What about?
Well, don't laugh, okay?
There was no reason for Junpei to hide his thoughts. He began to explain his theory to Ace. Then he stopped. It wouldn't make sense if Ace didn't know who Alice was supposed to be. So he told Ace everything June had told him.
The Egyptian priestess and Ice 9. Interesting.
And the woman who wouldn't melt, who was recovered from the Titanic disaster? They called her All Ice, which eventually turned into Alice. And she was purchased by an English millionaire who called himself Lord Gordain. According to Seven, this ship is where he hid Alice.
And you think that he hid her in a small room, beyond the library on the bottom deck?
Yeah.
Don't give the killer all
it
of
is
your
just
cards.
a theory.
Ace stared off into the distance, his hand slowly and absent-mindedly stroking his beard. After a few moments, his hand stopped. He turned slowly to look at Junpei, and his brows drew together.
Junpei, have you ever heard of the term CAS?
Cass?
It stands for Cells Alive System. It is an advanced technology for freezing and preserving organic matter. Put simply, it is a technique that allows one to freeze things without the formation of ice crystals. Normally, if you freeze something fresh, water within its cells expands as it crystallizes, damaging the cell membrane. CAS, however, works differently. The object to be frozen is supercooled using magnetic fields, and then frozen instantly and uniformly, giving ice crystals no time to form. It was originally developed for the preservation of food, as an alternative to the normal freezing process. Now, however, there are rumors that it can be used for other things.
What do you mean, other things?
Well, there are obvious medical uses, but perhaps also space travel.
Space travel? Are you serious?
Surely you've heard of suspended animation, cryogenic freezing? It's a fairly common idea in science fiction books and films. People are sometimes frozen for especially lengthy journeys through space.
That was when Junpei understood what Ace was suggesting.
Whoa, wait a minute there.
Ace looked at him and raised an eyebrow.
Are you saying that Alice was frozen using that CAS thing?
Well, I'm sure the possibility is quite low, but it is a possibility. If this special ice you call Ice 9 does indeed exist, and CAS were used to freeze her into that sort of ice instantaneously.
You think she could be alive?
Well, I can't say for sure, of course. I'm only talking about possibilities. The melting point for Ice 9 is 96 degrees, right? If she were put somewhere where she could reach that temperature...
That's nuts. Are you really saying she could have defrosted and started walking about?
You're quite right. It does sound unbelievable. But if she had, then we would have an explanation for the man we found dead on the floor.
You mean the guy dressed like a captain?
Yes. He was dead when we found him. Clearly, he was murdered. But if he was murdered, then by whom?
I like this Junpei face right here. This is a good one. Actually, all these faces are pretty good.
It couldn't have been one of us. That would be impossible. In order to enter the captain's quarters, one must first open door 1. That door that requires the Earth key prevented us from accessing door 1. Who was it that opened that door?
Santa and Lotus.
Right. Clearly, the two of them could not have opened door 1, or any other door for that matter. Who else then could have done so?
Junpei thought for a second.
Nobody.
After Santa and Lotus used the Earth key, they turned back and met up with me and June. Then we returned to the large hospital room and found Ace, Seven, and Clover. While we'd gone into the shower room, Ace, Seven, and Clover had stayed behind. But it's impossible for those three to open door 1. But what about when June and I took the elevator to door 2? No, still won't work. We were only gone 5 minutes. No human being could have run to the captain's quarters, killed that guy in there, and run back that fast.
It would be impossible for any of us to be the murderer. That being the case, who could have killed him? Wouldn't it make sense if his killer was someone who had been in the ship for some time? A person like that would know the ship well. They would know the locations of all the hidden passages and secret doors. The numbered door would mean nothing to someone like that. It would be a simple thing for them to enter the captain's quarters.
Then you're saying the killer was Alice?
It was Junpei's turn to raise an eyebrow. Ace drew his thumb across his lips thoughtfully.
Well, this is all only one possible theory.
All ice. Alice. Is she really somewhere on the ship?
Junpei had only one clue. The key card in his hand.
Maybe this card will give me access to the Forest of Knowledge. And the big mystery. What could be there beyond the Forest of Knowledge? Anyway, whatever. It's gonna have to wait. I can't do anything right now. I'll come back to this later.
He gripped the key card tighter and shoved it deep into his pocket. All right. So we've now finally gotten to the point where we've unlocked this route. And now we won't get murdered by an axe. Hopefully. So this should... It wasn't really like a choice at this point. You just kind of went into that route. So we should now just go into the other route, I believe. And by the way, we're going to cut it off before too long. I think I'm going to get... I think I know where I'm going to stop. We'll stop before the next like big section to go through. So for the final stream of this, we can do all of the ending stuff in like one go. Because I want to say we probably, at this point right now, probably have like 2.5 to 3 hours left. So I'd like to get a little closer to that point and then we'll stop. They stepped out of the captain's quarters and into another hallway. The hallway stretched out in front of Junpei for a bit before turning left like a great backward L.
All right, let's go.
Junpei rounded the corner and took off down the straightaway. I mean, we'll stop in the next puzzle room, I think is what we'll do. We'll stop, like, when we get into it, basically. He ran. And ran. And ran. At the end of the hallway was a door.
That's the next door.
He made straight
Wait,
for it.
a piece of paper.
What's a piece of paper? Yeah, so this is all the same.
Map.
The map.
What's wrong?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, about 3 hours, so we'll get to that point and then stop and save the rest of it for the, next stream. Because I think once I stop there, the rest of that will be nice to do all in one section. I'd hate to get started with that part and then just end it, like halfway through, so to speak. A slightly slower by virtue of his advanced age. Yeah,
I found him.
Okay.
I see.
Do we even need this map?
Well, that was... I should keep this, though.
There's not a lot on this floor, is there?
Hey, where's Clover?
Uh-oh, what's Clover doing again?
Damn it, what the...
Exactly, I know. I'd hate to get, partway through and stop, so I think I'm going to stop right at the beginning, and then We'll do all of that in one big, 3-ish hour stream, whatever that would be.
Clover!
Huh?
Clover, any axes?
What the hell are you doing?
Nothing.
What do you mean, nothing? What the hell is that?
What?
You've got something in your pocket.
Oh,
No.
A note?
yeah. It said something about the darkness of the sinister hand or something.
Is that where you got that?
What the hell? Let me see it.
No, not right.
Junpei wasn't going to get to see it. From the other end of the hallway, he heard Ace's voice.
Hey, Junpei, Clover! What are you two doing? Hurry up!
He's getting mad.
Clover shrugged.
I'll show it to you later, all right? Come on, we gotta hurry.
It's a good thing I trust you. Before Junpei could protest, she was gone. Around the corner, and off down the long stem of the L. A note. Junpei was curious. But there was something else that bothered him.
From the look of that pocket, it doesn't particularly look like just a note. Jeez, what are you thinking? For crying out loud.
Junpei did his best to convince himself that it would make sense later and ran off after Clover. Didn't see an axe this time, though, so I think we're doing a little better in that sense. Junpei pushed through the door and found himself in a large room with a large set of stairs.
The big stairs. So this is where it ends up. Just like it says on the map.
It was just what he'd expected to see after reading the map. His IC after reading the map himself meant that Ace had probably realized the same thing.
Ace, did he head down?
He put his hand on the handrail and leaned over to look down.
Oh, there he is.
Look, the 4 others are there too.
Okay, I think this is all the same.
Really?
Let's join them. Jumpy! Clover!
Have we moved on yet? No, we're still in the T, or the choice area.
What's up?
We found...
Found what?
We found it!
What did you find?
It.
The last door! We found door 9!
Yeah, we found door 9 before, but unfortunately then bad stuff started happening.
What?
Didn't, Clover disappear and we were looking for her and that's what happened or something?
Come on! Just follow us! We'll explain on the way!
Okay.
Well, wait for me.
We should get going as well.
Yeah, look, Clover's here. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Clover was trying to get everyone divided up. And she suggested checking out door 2. Where then she murdered the 3 people, I forget who it was, but also June as well. That's the difference. Yeah, she didn't disappear here. Because we never went in door 2. She's like, well, we should check just in case. And then murdered everybody, and then... Yeah. Okay.
Jumpy! We finally made it!
Yeah. We've reached the end.
Yeah, Santa, 7, and June. Can you imagine her killing 7? I get an axe is definitely gonna be a much better weapon than, presumably, him being unarmed. But that must have been, a heck of a kill right there. I think that would have been the smart one to start with. Start with him, take him down, and then Santa seems kind of small. I bet you could take him down pretty easily.
Something's bothering me. Only 3 to 5 people can go through the numbered door. 7 of us are on our way to door 9. That means that, best case scenario, 2 people. Is there a way?
4:30. We've only got 90 minutes left. Hey!
Yeah, so this is all still the same.
Yeah.
Right, so it's at this point that she would have brought up the number 2 door. As a group, they piled onto the elevator and rode impatiently down to E-Deck. It looked familiar. There was a metal grate between the 2 elevators. 7 grabbed hold of it and began to talk.
I know I told you I'd explain it earlier, but honestly, there ain't much to explain. After we split off from you guys, the 4 of us got into the elevator on the left, and that took us to the other side of the grate.
Door 6 route, she's missing, I think, because she found the note and went looking for the number 9 bracelet. Which we can put together Ace had already killed her, or only what we see happens. Yeah, probably. Something like that. So while these endings don't necessarily get explained, you can generally figure out that either Clover killed some people, or more, I think what happens in a lot of the endings, Ace starts offing people. Notably, he ends up trying to, off or lure away Lotus to end up using her to try to get through the door later on.
After that, we headed down another hallway. It took us toward the bow and eventually to the number 6 that you two found earlier. We opened it and kept going. There was another locked door behind it, like usual, but this time we had to complete 2 different areas before we could unlock it. Once we were through that door, there was another hallway that went the other direction, toward the stern.
So, on your way, you found the elevator.
That's right.
So, in other words, you kinda did a lap, huh? You came from that side to this side.
Yeah.
With that settled, Junpei looked around.
So, where's the number 9 door?
Over here. Follow me.
7 began walking down the hallway that led towards the stern. Junpei and the others broke into a jog to keep up with him.
By the way,
They'd been walking for a while, June in silent step with Junpei, when she spoke.
it's because of Santa that we're all here right now.
Yeah. Well, and in a lot of these endings, we get offed and then presumably somebody gets out, right? Probably Ace doesn't let himself get killed, I would imagine, in a lot of these, because he's, the bad guy, so he's looking out for everybody.
Huh?
That all 7 of us are going to door 9.
What?
You don't get it? Santa, 7, and Lotus. What's their digital route?
3 plus 7 plus 8 equals 18. 1 plus 8 equals 9.
9. It's 9.
That's right. They could have just left me behind and kept going if they'd wanted to.
But they didn't.
Yes, because Santa wouldn't let them. He said, we can't leave June and the others behind. That's why we went looking for you guys.
And then you got on the elevator and went back to the central staircase.
That's right.
Well, I wouldn't have called that one. That Santa would be the one to stick up for you.
Junpei felt his eyebrows knit as he considered that.
Oh, don't get me wrong.
Perhaps since Junpei's concerned.
I don't mean that 7 and Lotus said they wanted to leave me behind. We were just talking about it, and Santa objected to it first.
Is that so?
Junpei was about to respond when 7 suddenly stopped.
We're here.
In front of them stood a door.
So, is this...
Yeah.
Junpei couldn't see 7's face, but he could see him nod.
There's no other place for us to go.
Nope. Just look around. There's a big old iron wall at the end of the hallway. The other hallways on the left and right are blocked by metal grates.
I see.
It looked as though 7 was right. The door in front of them was their only choice.
All right, let's get moving.
He pulled open the door and walked in. Junpei took a deep breath and followed. It appeared they'd been telling the truth.
No way.
The first thing Junpei saw as he entered the room was the number. 9. Like all the others, it was a rough thing, made of red paint. The door it decorated sat on the back wall of a rectangular room. Junpei ran up to it.
The 9 door.
It was a large double door with a powerful styling. Something about it was almost majestic, and it made the red paint look especially garish.
We're finally here.
Junpei grabbed the handle and shook. It didn't budge, but then he hadn't really expected it to. The red was bolted to the wall next to the door. Its display read vacant.
No doubt about it. This is door 9. Oh, finally! This is the last.
Junpei felt a flood of emotion wash over him. He felt a chill down his back and his chest tightened even as his blood began to boil. There was a moment of complete silence.
Junpei, look behind you.
He turned around.
Behind? What?
Junpei could scarcely believe what he saw.
Why? A door and a 9. There's another one. Hey, what the hell? What the hell is going on here?
His words came slowly, and his brain struggled to understand what he'd seen. On shaky legs, he made his way to the second 9. It was a small door set parallel to the door they'd come through, but in the other corner of the room. 9. There was no mistaking the number, and if any more proof was needed, a red was bolted to the wall near the door.
There's a red there too. That means... And of course it won't open.
He grabbed the handle and shook the door, not because he expected it to open, but because he had to make sure it was real.
But why? Why the hell are there 2 doors?
It was Ace who spoke first.
Do you think perhaps one is the right door and the other is the wrong one?
Lotus was skeptical.
I don't know about that. It seems unlikely.
What makes you say so?
Well, think about all the rooms we've been through so far. They're full of puzzles, but there are always hints about how to solve them. I'm pretty sure there aren't any rooms where we just had to go with our best guess and leave it to instinct to solve the puzzle. Do you really think that at the very end of the game, Zero's going to suddenly throw in something that depends entirely on luck?
Then you're saying there's some sort of hint in this room.
No, I don't think there's a hint anywhere in here. I searched it very well when I was in here before. I didn't find anything that might have been a hint, though.
Well then, that means...
Yeah, both of these are the right door. I mean, if you think about it, Zero never actually said there was only one door with a 9 on it.
It is hidden, but an exit can be found. Seek a way out. Seek a door that carries a 9.
Junpei began to mutter to himself.
So if there are 2 number 9 doors, if we split it up right?
That's not gonna work.
Junpei blinked and looked up at Clover. She held out her hand.
You've got a notebook and a pen, right? Can I borrow them?
Yeah, here.
Slightly confused, he pulled them out and handed them to her.
Look at this.
Clover opened the notebook to a blank page and set it down on the desk. Everyone else gathered around her and watched as she wrote down a series of numbers.
You get it? The numbers on the top are all the combinations with digital roots of 9. The numbers on the bottom are the people who don't fit. There's only 8 possibilities if we split up into 2 groups of 3 or 4 people. So...
If 3 people go through the door, then 4 are left behind. If 4 go through, then 3 are left behind, right?
yeah.
Clover nodded almost as if she were pleased with herself for solving a difficult math problem.
No way.
The room went very quiet. Silence lay across everyone like a thick, heavy blanket. No one spoke. Their faces were blank.
Come to think of it,
Desperate for something else to look at, Junpei turned his eyes to the room around him.
what is this room?
Walls were covered with candles. The wavering flame made the shadows of Junpei and his companions look as though they were dancing. 2 rows of wooden pews filled most of the room.
It looks like it's set up for some kind of ceremony. But what kind?
Between them was a strip of rich red carpet. Carpet ran straight through the room, ending at the door that pointed to the stern of the boat. At the other end of the carpet,
Is that an altar?
it was a recessed space set into the wall between the two other doors. Sitting on a raised section of the altar was a coffin. A coffin? A coffin?
A coffin? No, it couldn't possibly be.
But if it wasn't, then whose body occupied it? That was as far as Junpei wanted to pursue that line of thought. He decided not to think about the coffin for the time being. At that moment, Seven spoke. There was an edge of humor to his voice, but it was forced.
Okay, I give up. I give up. I figured if we sat around here long enough, someone would volunteer. But I guess nobody's got the guts to do it.
What are you talking about?
Junpei didn't understand, and he wasn't the only one.
What, you guys didn't figure it out yet? Fine, let me enlighten you. Clover was mostly right with her little explanation earlier, but she missed something. She wasn't really wrong, she just... screw it! Let me just write it out.
Seven snatched up the notebook and began to write in it. Everyone else clustered around him, desperate for a look.
If you're trying to leave with a group of 3 and a group of 4 and get everybody out, Clover's right. But there's another way. Only one combination, though. If you split us up into groups of 3, 3, and 1, you can make this combination.
Wait, this means...
Don't get me wrong here. I'm not trying to copy Ace or anything like that. Even if he hadn't been the hero back in the big hospital room, I'd still be saying the same thing.
The same thing? Are you saying?
Yeah, I am. I'll stay behind.
Why are you acting so heroic all of a sudden? Are you some kind of idiot?
Lotus was the first to speak. That in itself was a little strange. She'd reacted much differently when Ace had volunteered.
No, I'm completely against this. I'll be goddamned if I'm gonna have to owe you for getting out of here.
The rest of them began to speak all at once.
I'm against it too. I didn't want to leave Ace behind, and I don't want to leave you either. I don't like that idea.
Anyone
There's
else
gotta
got any
be other
Soparil?
options.
I disagree as well. I can't say I care much for you being the hero.
Finally, they quieted down. Junpei looked at Seven.
Well, there you go, Seven. Proposal denied. Clover's right. There's gotta be a better way than this.
Seven made some noise that was somewhere between a derisive snort and a cough.
Doesn't make any sense.
He was doing his best to pretend they were making a foolish decision, but Junpei could see the twinkling of water at the corners of Seven's eyes. That was when Santa spoke.
Whoa, hold on a minute. I haven't said anything yet.
Until then, Junpei hadn't realized that Santa had stayed quiet for the whole discussion of Seven's fate. Something in his voice made Junpei uncomfortable.
Are you... agreeing? You want to leave him here?
Santa shook his head.
Nah, I'm against it. I don't want to leave Seven here alone.
Then I don't see how it matters.
I said alone.
Oh no.
Huh?
I said I don't want to leave Seven alone.
There was a dull shine in Santa's eyes. They were cold and hard. Junpei felt himself shiver.
What the hell are you...
What? You don't get it? I can't leave just one person. I need 2 more. 3 people, including Seven. I'll be leaving behind 3 people. That's my proposal. No, those are my orders.
What do you mean, orders? What the hell makes you think you can order us around? Who the hell's gonna listen to you?
You all will. In 3 seconds, you won't have a choice.
What?
What?
3, 2, 1.
Santa was so fast, Junpei could barely see him. When he moved, it was almost like watching a dance. His feet moving like lightning. He spun and... Santa, please. He had June.
See? I told you.
his lips curled into a cruel, mocking smile.
Huh? What?
A shudder traveled the length of Junpei's spine. His chest froze and he could feel his breath go stale in his lungs. Nothing made sense. Junpei felt as though his head were about to explode. Santa's sudden change in attitude, saying that he needed 2 more. The gun in his right hand, a revolver. Santa had grabbed June from behind and pressed what Junpei's shaken brain identified as a revolver, roughly against her temple.
Why?
Yes, Santa, please, we were gonna get you out of here too.
What the hell is that?
It's a gun. Where on earth had Santa possibly found a gun? It's at the gun store. Junpei's questions roared in his mind, but his mouth refused to ask them. Seven spoke almost as though he had sensed Junpei's confusion.
The gun's from the other room.
What room?
One of the rooms behind door 6. I should have known he was gonna do this. I should have taken the gun.
Well, it's too late now, fat ass.
Damn it!
A mixture of fury and frustration twisted Seven's face, and he glared at Santa. Santa, for his part, didn't so much as flinch. The corner of his lip twitched into a slightly wider smile. Then the smile faded and he began to move. He walked backwards, dragging June with him. Before long, his back was resting against the door. On the wall next to him was the red. He put his hand on the scanner panel quickly and then forced June to do the same.
Now, time for you to start following my orders. Ace, Lotus, congratulations! I've chosen you to come with me. Put your hands in the red.
3 + 6 + 1 + 8 = 18. That was what Santa had meant when he said he needed 2 more.
Hey, you deaf? I gave you an order.
Santa's eyes narrowed to slits. He glared at Ace and Lotus. Ace got outplayed. That's okay, I'm sure he's like, well, I'm sure I can make this work later. They stayed, frozen like deer caught in the headlights of an oncoming car.
Right, fine. I didn't want to waste any bullets, but you guys just don't get it.
No sooner were the words out of Santa's mouth than his hand twitched, and the gun roared. A section of the floor exploded, scattering wooden splinters across the floor. A thin plume of smoke snaked out of the hole in the floor.
Ha!
There could be no doubt that the gun was real and worked.
He really shot it? Why? Santa, why are you...
Clover's voice spoke of betrayal and disbelief.
Santa, I thought you were one of us. I thought we were friends.
What?
You knew about the leaf words and
The
the
leaf
four-leaf
words.
clover.
Santa's cheek twitched almost imperceptibly.
What the hell is that shit? I've got no idea.
You're lying.
Shut up! Just shut up! You stupid bitch! You want me to put a bullet in your fucking head?
Flecks of spit flew from Santa's mouth, his face twisted with rage. Clover recoiled, her eyes wide. When she spoke, her voice was very small.
Santa.
He snorted, then shook his head vigorously and turned to face Ace and Lotus.
All right, assholes. What are you still standing there for? Get over here and scan those bracelets. I don't have all day. Oh, what's the matter? Your hearing starting to go? Going senile, maybe?
Ace and Lotus still didn't move. It almost seems as if they couldn't move. June's face was pale behind Santa's arm. Her eyes were wild and her chest heaved with every quick breath, like an animal cornered by a predator. Junpei's mind worked furiously. What were they going to do? Then he realized something. There was nothing they needed to do. There was nothing to debate.
That's it.
June's safety was the first priority. That much was obvious. Doing as Santa had commanded meant that she would be safe from at least 2 threats. She wouldn't be shot, and she would leave the ship alive along with Santa, Ace, and Lotus. There was only one thing for Junpei to do.
It's the only way.
He turned to Ace and Lotus.
Please, go.
Huh?
No way.
Jumpy, what are you saying? If you stay here, you're going to be stuck, Jumpy. And so will Clover and Seven.
I know, but you don't need to worry about us. We'll figure something out. Right, Seven?
Right. You just leave it to us. It's gonna piss me off to do what Santa says.
Don't worry about me either. There's still something I have to take care of. No, no! You can't! Ace, Lotus, don't come over! Don't worry about me, please!
June was almost crying. Junpei walked around behind Ace and Lotus. He gently placed a hand on each of their shoulders
Please.
and pushed them towards the door. They almost stumbled, then righted themselves and took another step. And another. They turned around and Junpei nodded.
Go.
Oh, all right.
Fine.
Ace and Lotus turned around again and walked slowly towards the door where Santa was waiting for them. After what seemed like an eternity, they stopped in front of the door marked 9. Santa smiled.
All right, now let's get those hands on the scanner panel.
Who knew? Who knew Santa was the other bad guy?
What's the holdup? What? You think I'm fucking around here? I don't give a shit about this girl. The red doesn't need a person, you know? All I need is the bracelet. You get it? Good. Now put your fucking hands on the scanner. I'm not gonna say it again.
He shoved the revolver harder against June's head, and she winced.
Fine.
Ace sighed, defeated, and placed his hand on the scanner panel. Lotus went next. Lotus glared at Santa and slammed her hand onto the scanner panel. The 4th asterisk blinked on.
Good job. Now, Lotus, pull that lever. Soon as the door opens, you get your ass in there. Try anything stupid, and you know what happens, right?
I mean, you'll die because they won't go through the door.
Damn it.
Junpei could almost hear Lotus's teeth grind. The door slid open. Door number 9 opened at last. It opened with a low, powerful rumble, a drum roll to welcome the chosen few.
Good. Go.
Lotus and Ace walked through the door, their eyes furious but defeated. Santa waited until they were all the way inside, then hauled himself and June across the threshold as well. 6, 7, 8.
Later.
See you later, Santa! After exactly 9 seconds, the door swung shut. The gust of air it created caused the candles on the altar to flicker and die. And game over. The room fell silent. Junpei, Clover, and Seven had been left behind. Clover looked down at her hand and traced with her finger the faint blue veins that crisscrossed them. Seven shoved his arms into the front of his overalls and scratched his stomach. No one spoke. Silence made the air feel thick and oppressive. Desperate for something, anything to occupy his mind, Junpei walked to the larger of the 2 9 doors. He stood in front of it and looked at the red. It read engaged. He moved to the smaller door. The red read vacant. God. The digital root of the remaining people was 7. 5 plus 4 plus 7 equals 16. 1 plus 6 equals 7. There was no possible way for them to open a door with 9 on it. Junpei touched the surface of the door.
June.
He thought about June, about Akane Kurishiki. Was she safe? Probably not. That was all that mattered to him. If she was alive, if she had escaped this horrible boat, that was what Junpei prayed for. 7 came up next to him. He pulled off his hat, scratched his head, and sighed.
So, what do you want to do, Junpei?
I mean, to be honest, I would not be surprised if he just went and shot all of them. Like, you don't need them alive. And honestly, they're probably more of a liability that way, right?
What do you mean, what do I want to do? What can we do?
7 opened his mouth to respond when... Marsh, marsh. A noise echoed through the room. Someone was pounding on something vigorously. It wasn't mechanical. It was certainly human. Junpei and 7 looked at one another.
What the hell is that?
Shh, quiet!
Clover motioned to 7 to be quiet. She put one finger to her lips and closed her eyes in concentration. Marsh, marsh. Nope, it's not the hole in the floor. The 3 of them listened, trying to determine where the sound was coming from.
Where is it coming from? Could it be?
Hey, I think it's coming from this coffin.
You're right!
Let's open it.
But how?
What are those muscles for? For show?
You're telling me to force it open?
Just shut up and try!
Junpei and 7 grabbed hold of the coffin. They tried to get a good grip with what little purchase they could find and pulled with all their strength.
Damn it!
Man, it won't even budge.
There was some sort of keypad attached to the coffin. Its purpose would not have been difficult to determine. Their eyes were almost immediately drawn to it.
Not another one.
Yeah, looks like it.
Do you think we have to put in the right password or it won't open?
I think so.
The noise wasn't stopping. In fact, it was getting louder.
Whoever or whatever's inside this thing wants out. And now.
Well, yeah.
I know that. But how?
Without a passcode, I don't think there's much we can do.
They couldn't even tell how many numbers the passcode needed to be.
Isn't there a hint somewhere?
Well, let's look for one.
Unfortunately, there didn't seem to be anything near the coffin. Clover ran to examine the pews, and 7 investigated the desk, but they turned up nothing.
Ugh, there's nothing here.
Not making this easy, are they?
The sound still wouldn't stop. Hello? Do you know the code to open this? It wasn't a noise that belonged in that room.
What's the passcode? What am I supposed to do? How can we figure it out? I need something.
The world blinked. Suddenly, there was a voice inside of Junpei's head. Truth had gone, and truth had gone. Ah, now truth is asleep in the darkness of the sinister hand.
Wait, what? What the hell was that? That voice?
Yes. So this is like the cutoff point, where if you didn't have the safe ending or the zero lost ending, where we went in the safe and we did all this stuff earlier, we wouldn't be able to do this. This is where it would stop, and I believe it gives you a to be continued message, basically. Because that ending is like the crux of getting out, getting the true ending. Junpei was utterly and completely baffled.
Huh? What?
What's up?
Seven and Clover ran over to him, but Junpei didn't know what to tell him.
Huh?
If he told them he'd heard a voice, they'd laugh, or worse, they'd think he was going insane. So all he said was,
Oh, nothing.
Nothing. He cleared his throat a little too loud and looked pointedly down at his bracelet. There were a pair of small buttons protruding from either side of it. Junpei, oh no, it's this again. Okay, so I don't think we're going to get anything from the wrong one. Let's try it one time and see what happens. Probably the same thing as last time. That's wrong. You should know that already. Gone means you leave, so it means left. Any other good texts? Okay. No, I didn't actually see a menu there. You tried that already. So I think it was left, right, left, right, left, right. Oh no, it was left, it was the other way. You should know everything. If you don't, then why did you bother to look at the bracelet? You already know that the darkness of the sinister hand is telling you to look at the bracelet on your left side. Junpei, you've created a time paradox. I was actually watching some Metal Gear Solid 3 videos the other day. And heard that quite a lot. Anyway, this one should be right. That was it. I'm glad they don't make me remember this. 8 numbers blinked on and then off on the bracelet display. Junpei checked one last time. 1, 4, 3, 8, 3, 4, 2, 1.
1, 4, 3,
That's
8,
what I just said.
3, 4, 2, 1.
Huh?
Huh?
Hey, what the hell were those numbers?
Oh my gosh, are those...
Junpei didn't answer. He simply walked straight to the coffin. He knelt down in front of the keypad, running over the numbers in his head so that he wouldn't forget.
1, 4, 3, 8, 3, 4, 2, 1. 1, 4, 3, 8, 3, 4, 2,
Just put
1.
the number in, Junpei. With trembling fingers, he punched them in. That was all of them. He punched the E button. There was a moment of complete silence. Then there was the sound of the coffin lid unlatching. Someone sat up out of it.
No way!
What?
Why are you...
Oh? Is that you, Clover? I apologize for worrying you. Snake!
You? Why?
Junpei? And Seven? Is that you? Is everyone else there as well?
Just like Rip Van Winkle. Still, it was very much like Snake to simply cut to the heart of the matter and ask.
Jeez.
Junpei and Seven shared a wry smile. Clover's eyes were filled with tears.
You're back!
With a cry of joy, she leapt into Snake's arms.
Gently now. My body's still a little weak.
Oh, you're back!
Clover looked like nothing so much as a lost child, who had finally found her home. She cried and cried and cried. Her eyes were red and her nose was running. She hiccuped and gasped as if she were about to begin hyperventilating.
You're back! You're really here!
Her voice was happy, but almost desperate, as if she feared he would disappear again if she stopped talking to him. Tear after tremendous tear rolled its way down her face. Her small arms strained as she clutched Snake's body as tightly as she could. Perhaps she had to convince herself he was real. Perhaps she was worried he would be gone the moment she let go. Perhaps She simply didn't know what else to do.
You're back!
Come now, what's gotten into you? You're acting as though I've returned from the grave.
Not as though! You did! I really thought you were dead!
Huh?
You jerk! Idiot! Idiot! Idiot!
Back. Clover broke into sobs so great she could no longer talk. It was a touching reunion between brother and sister. Even though Junpei knew they had little time, and every minute they waited was a minute they wasted, it felt cruel to pull them apart. Junpei and Seven sat down in one of the pews, waiting for Clover to calm down before explaining to Snake what had transpired.
I see. I believe I understand things rather well now, thank you. In the shower room, there is a dead body wearing my clothes. Because of that, you thought that I was dead, correct?
He had quickly and neatly summarized the events of several hours.
Yeah.
Junpei nodded.
You also discovered a corpse in the captain's quarters, and Santa turned on you here, in this room. Do I have it straight?
Well, the dead body in the captain's quarters is a surprise.
Sorry, there wasn't a good time to tell you.
Don't worry about it.
Well then, I've got a pretty decent idea of what happened while I was indisposed, but it's still something of a mystery who did all this, and why. The corpse in the shower room that looked like me, and the corpse in the captain's quarters. Why were they killed in the way they were?
You don't know?
No. Why would I?
The guy in the shower room. We don't know who he is, so let's just call him Mr. X. Anyway, this Mr. X is wearing Snake's clothes. But you're wearing some kind of weird robes. That means someone took your clothes and put them on Mr. X. We need to figure out who that was.
I apologize, but I have no idea who might have done this to me. I only just now woke up. I was unconscious during all the events you just described to me. They must have undressed me and changed my clothes during that time.
When were you knocked out?
When we split up to look for the red.
Where did they get you? Do you remember?
It was a small room in one of the hallways on C deck.
What happened?
The same thing that happened to every one of us when we were abducted. A canister releasing some sort of gas was thrown into the room. I believe the gas is some sort of incapacitating agent.
Then that means it was...
Zero.
Looks that way, huh?
There's nothing else I have to tell you. When I woke up, I was in this coffin.
Junpei crossed his arms and thought.
Why? Why did Zero make Mr. X wear Snake's clothes? How would that benefit Zero? I don't get it. What the hell does any of it mean? And I have no idea how I got the passcode for the coffin either. Truth had gone, and truth had gone. Where did those words come from? Why did I feel compelled to push the buttons on the bracelet after hearing them?
Seven had asked him about it while they waited for Clover to finish crying. He had no answer for him then, and he still didn't.
All I know is my fingers moved on their own. It was like I did it subconsciously. I don't get it. What the hell does any of it mean?
His mind was a maelstrom of mysteries, clues, theories, and more mysteries. He could barely think.
Also, Snake and Clover had been subjects in a similar experiment 9 years ago.
The ability to access a morphogenetic field is affected by a couple of things. The first is epiphany, and the other is danger. And someone did actually die. A girl. Her name was...
There had been another experiment conducted on this same ship 9 years ago, and a girl had died during it. Morphogenetic field theory. The two murders. Switching clothes. The nonary game.
whatever strange thing was happening to Junpei himself. The maelstrom in his head spat out words and ideas that disappeared back into it almost as soon as he grasped them. But as he struggled through them, Junpei began to realize something. There was something that tied all of them together, and the point connecting the dots.
Zero. He's the ringleader. The person who trapped 9 of us on this sinking ship. Zero should know everything. If we can uncover Zero's identity, all of our questions will be answered.
Who was Zero? Junpei had the beginnings of a theory. If he could only test it. Or perhaps...
At any rate, we'll have plenty of time to decipher the details later. For now, it is of utmost importance that we escape. Junpei, it was 4:30 the last time you checked the clock, yes? That means we have less than an hour. We must hurry.
Hey, how are we gonna get out of here?
Isn't that obvious? Through the other number 9 door.
Conveniently, that number works out just perfectly for us.
Oh yeah, you're right. With Snake, we can open the door.
Don't tell me you hadn't figured that out.
As they sniped back and forth, Junpei glanced at Snake's left hand. He was wearing a bracelet with a 2 on it.
Come on, you gotta tell me these things.
I, assumed you'd figured it out.
Sorry, not all of us can do this math in our head on the fly like this.
Forget it, let's just get going.
7 stomped off towards the smaller number 9 door. Clover, Snake, and Junpei followed. 7 quickly laid his hand on the red. An asterisk appeared on the screen. Junpei and the others followed suit and laid their hands on the scanner panel. Soon there were 4 asterisks on the screen. 7 glanced at them, then laid his hand on the lever of the red.
All right, you guys ready to go?
Yes.
Yep.
That wasn't a yes. Junpei
Not
paused
yet.
for a moment.
Huh?
Before we go in, I'd like to check something.
You want to check something?
Yeah, but before I do, 7, could you pull the lever?
Man, Junpei, you and your sneakiness with your whole, make people pull the lever for you thing.
I want to make sure we can verify with just the 4 of us.
What do you mean? We don't need...
Just do it, alright? But if the door opens, don't go in yet, okay? Please, this is really important. I really need to check this, okay? Work with me here.
Junpei looked directly into 7's eyes. The older man looked back for a moment, then nodded.
Fine.
Seven pulled down on the lever and door 9 creaked open. Then they waited. 6, 7, 8. After 9 seconds, the door closed.
Alright, that means the 4 of us can go into door 9.
So, we knew that already. It's obvious.
Obvious. Yeah, you're right. It is. Now, what happens if we add Zero's bracelet?
What?
Zero's bracelet?
Why don't you take it out, Clover?
For a moment, Clover looked surprised, but she recovered quickly and stuck her tongue out at Junpei.
So you did know I had it. I picked it up because I thought it might be useful sometime.
She reached into one of the pockets of her voluminous jacket and produced a bracelet. Junpei took it from her and turned to 7.
This was on the left hand of the corpse in the captain's quarters. If you look at it, you can see it's got a 0 on the face.
If you can look at it, and some of us can't.
Just to make this a little easier to talk about, I'm gonna call the guy we found dead in the captain's quarters, Cap.
We called him Mr. X, didn't we? Oh, no, that was the guy that was dead in the shower. Never mind.
Then I should be able to open door 9 with just me, Clover, and his bracelet.
5 plus 4 plus 0 equals 9.
Though the big question is, if Cap is the mastermind of this game, will he really put one of these bracelets on? Anyway, let's just give it a shot. Clover, give me your hand.
Okay.
Oh no,
Now the
Junpei, you're
captain's
kind
bracelet.
of a suspicious guy. I don't know if I really trust you with this.
And pull the lever.
However, the door didn't open. The Red's display read error.
I knew it. Now, what does this tell us?
It's
Maybe
broken.
the bracelet has to be on your wrist in order for it to work?
No, that's impossible. Did you see how the panel showed a third asterisk when I scanned Cap's bracelet? Whether or not it's on your wrist doesn't matter. All you have to do is put the bracelet near the panel for it to register.
Seven waved his bracelet in front of the scanner panel. Sure enough, a single asterisk appeared on the Red.
Huh. Looks like you're right.
See? So what does that mean? There's only one possibility.
That bracelet isn't the number 0. Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
Then what number is it?
Let's find out.
Junpei? I don't remember what it was, so we're just gonna try some stuff and see what happens.
Let's try 7, me, and Cap.
7, Junpei. 7 plus 5 equals 12. 1 plus 2 equals 3.
If this combination opens the door, then Cap's bracelet is number 6.
I got it right.
Hey, it opened! The door opened!
What? Why? What does that mean?
Both Seven and Clover seemed rather shaken as they turned to look at Junpei for answers. The door slid heavily shut. Junpei raised an eyebrow.
Isn't it obvious? Cap's bracelet is number 6.
7 plus 5 plus 6 equals 18, which equals 9.
But doesn't it say 0?
This isn't a 0. The symbol on here isn't a number 0. It's a letter O.
Oh.
Oh,
Whoa, wait a minute. I don't get it.
why would it be an O?
I mean, we figured out that Cap's bracelet is 6, right?
Yeah,
Does that mean there are 2 people with 6s?
Before Junpei could answer, Snake spoke up.
There is most likely only one person with a 6.
I like the idea of us just grabbing like a permanent marker and drawing 6 on the face so we can remember.
But I don't get it. What about June?
Well, this is only an educated guess, but I think June's number was never 6 to begin with. Her bracelet was flipped. In other words,
What?
June's real number is...
9.
That seems the most likely.
Then all this numbered door stuff was just a load of crap?
Why would you say that?
Because if June is 9, then the numbers wouldn't match up.
Yeah, I was gonna say that wouldn't that gotten disproved pretty early on for us? Clover grabbed Junpei's notebook and began to write furiously in it.
Here, look.
Junpei leaned over to look at it.
list of all the numbered doors June's gone through.
I'll let you know what I'm writing, okay, Snake?
Unless...
And that's everything. I wrote down which door she went into and with whom. And I wrote what all the numbers were.
How do you guys remember all this?
So if you switch 9 and wherever there's a 6, the numbers don't work. If the digital root is 7, then you can't open door 4. If the digital root is 2, then you can't open door 8.
Clover, do you notice anything interesting on that list?
What do you mean?
A little bit.
You're talking about 3, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say... Oh, I thought it was 8, actually. There's 8 in every single one of these. But I guess 3 as well.
3?
Santa's always in the room with her. That's what you're saying, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
What about it?
That's quite simple, really. You told me that the first time you came to this room, Santa was the first to refuse to leave June behind. Now, doesn't that beg the question why? Why would Santa do such a thing? The answer is easy. because Santa can't open door 9 with only 7 and Lotus.
No, I mean, I get the importance of the whole thing, that their lives revolve around this for the past 8 hours, but I feel like in such a tense situation, not only would I have trouble remembering these sort of things, I would have trouble doing basic math without, like, you know, a notebook. Like, they're like, oh yeah, the digital root of 8, 3, and 2 is this, and I'm like, what? Yeah, stop asking rhetorical questions, Snake.
Of course, there's only one reason for that. His number isn't actually 3. Santa's real number, 7? Would you be so kind as to modify my sister's equations?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know what math is. Yeah, I would honestly, like that little calculator they gave me, I'd be like, hold on. Ah, it's 9.
This is what you were getting at, right, Snake?
Interesting. He read out the changes he'd made. When he finished, he looked at Snake. Snake smiled.
Thank you. That is exactly right, 7. Santa's true number wasn't 3. It was 0.
No way. Santa is 0?
And June was 9, not 6. Conversely, Santa was 0, not 3.
So how do you turn the 3 on his face into a 0? Like, oh, that's not a 0, that's an O. How do you do that with 3?
Plus 3 and minus 3, they cancel one another out. Nothing appears out of order.
Wait, no, what do you mean plus 3 and minus 3? No, you can't do that.
Santa was still playing by the rules of the notary game this whole time.
What do you mean plus 3 and minus 3? What does that mean?
Precisely.
So you're saying Santa planned this whole thing?
I'm not sure if he acted alone or not, but I think it is safe to conclude that he is 0. If my hypothesis is correct.
Clover bit her lip. She seemed to be having some difficulty believing her brother's explanation. No, I get the idea that June's number wasn't really 6, it was 9, and Santa was really 0 instead of 3. So it means the same thing as long as they both go through the door, but they explained June's 6 away by being, oh, her bracelet was flipped. That makes sense. How do you explain Santa's 3 away as a 0? That doesn't make sense. Unless it doesn't matter, you know, and that's just like, oh, he broke the convention there. Which seems like something they wouldn't do in this game, but whatever. He explained it away by saying, it's plus 3 and minus 3. He was playing by the rules of the game. No, what? What does that mean? It didn't say plus 3 or minus 3 on his bracelet. It said 3. Anyway. Junpei. Junpei remained silent in thought.
Snake's hypothesis. Something doesn't seem right. June's bracelet being flipped. Even if that were possible, that would mean there are 2 number 9 bracelets. And if that's the case...
All right, that's enough talking.
Yeah, they should have just not mentioned the O thing if they just weren't going to go with that.
Let's go. It's high time we went through that door.
Door 9 opened. They leapt through.
Oh, it's right there.
The dead was directly in front of them as they came through the door. Quickly, they scanned their bracelets. And the detonator stopped.
Oh.
After pausing for a moment to catch their collective breath, Junpei and his companions headed down the long hallway in front of them.
All right, let's keep going.
At the end was a set of stairs leading down into the ship.
I think these stairs go to the bottom deck.
They leaned out and looked over the side.
Looks dry.
Let's head down.
After deciding it was safe, they headed down the stairs. Before long, Junpei and his companions found themselves on the bottom deck. They turned left into another hallway, at the end of which they found another door.
Hey, it's a...
And of course, there was a symbol engraved over the keyhole. It looked like the sort of harpoon one would use to hunt fish. The kind with 3 prongs. Snake traced the shape of it with his fingers.
This is the Neptune symbol. There must be a key around here somewhere.
Neptune key. I only have the Uranus key card.
Clearly it wasn't going to open this door.
It's a different planet. Plus, it's the wrong kind of key.
Let's turn around and go back for now.
I have to say, Zero was very nice in setting up this game and making sure that these symbols had, like, they weren't just a flat picture, that they actually had depth to it so he could, like, read it with his hands, you know?
Yeah.
After examining the door for a few more minutes, they gave up and headed back the way they'd come.
Hey, another door.
With a little more searching, they found a metal door.
And a card reader this time.
A symbol was engraved onto the card reader.
It's the Uranus symbol.
This is the place.
Man, it's really convenient, because these 2 9 doors go to different places. It's really convenient that they didn't take the smaller 9 door, and then Junpei and the crew had to take the bigger one. Because, you know, he wouldn't, Santa wouldn't have had the key card for this. He muttered to himself and slid the card through the reader. It beeped once in the light and it turned green. With a heavy metal groan, the door creaked open. Junpei, Clover, Snake, and Seven looked at one another, nodded, and stepped through. I mean, as far as we knew, there wasn't a wrong door, as we talked earlier. They could have gone through either of them, and who knows where it was going to be on the other side. The room they found themselves in was full of books.
Wow! It's totally full of books!
There's so many. I don't know where to look.
It looked remarkably like a library. Not the sort of library where large numbers of people came to read books. More the sort of library that was simply a place to store books. He felt a little overwhelmed by the sheer number of books, but Junpei did his best to speak with authority.
All right, if we want to get through that door out there, we need the Neptune key. I say we split up and look for it.
Okay.
Very well.
Sure thing.
Good. Let's get started then. We don't have a lot of time. Hurry.
Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the Forest of Knowledge. As he began his search for reasons he didn't fully understand, Junpei felt those particular words float through his mind. Seek a way out! And we got the cool music track again, the chill music track, so to speak. Can you imagine on like a large cruise ship having this many books? This is a lot of books. I'm just thinking about, I know cruise ships generally avoid like poor stormy weather, but just imagine they got caught in like a sudden, you know, freak storm. These books are coming down. This is a lot of books. Can you imagine cleaning that up? Anyway, so as I alluded to earlier, this is where we're going to stop for today. I believe we have 2 to 3 hours left. I don't know how much longer, but that would be my guess. So we'll finish it up next stream unless something just awful happens and it's really long. It's accurate to the Titanic. I really don't know a lot about the Titanic other than, you know, like the big obvious. You know, it sunk. And I guess those books probably got pretty wet. But yeah, so we'll pick up here next time. We should finish it. Like I said, not going to play through the next game in the series. This was more like a revisit of the first game. Definitely enjoyed it so far. And can't wait to see the ending bit. And if I remember right, we still have one more Pipes Easter egg that we'll be seeing pretty soon. But anyway, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. We'll finish up next time. Glad people are enjoying as well. And there's a library on C-Deck, according to websites. I mean, I'm glad they followed it so well, you know, at least as far as I know, to the actual Titanic. Definitely gives it some more credibility and interestingness. Yep, we'll definitely get to the pipe next time. So anyway, yeah, thanks for coming in. Thanks for the help again, Free. I won't need that next time, because the rest of it is just very straightforward. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time for the ending of 999. Bye.